going on?
Doggy! What's up, Doggy? How you doing, man?
Okay, let me hear you take. I'll let you talk first. Let me hear you take on the playoffs here so far. What do you say?
Well, first of all, I want to thank the NBA because I'd given up on it last year when Kevin Durant decided to take his talents to the Bay Area and so dramatically shift the balance of power. I was never more disgusted covering an NBA season in my career than I was last year because we all knew it was a foregone conclusion. This year, it's far more interesting. Houston's a legitimate threat. Some have argued that they're better than Golden State. Golden State has injury and durability issues, so that's made it interesting. I expected more from OKC. That's turned out to be a disaster where you damn near need to break everything up. And so when you look at it from that perspective, the West is interesting and compelling in that regard. Of course, with the New Orleans Pelicans, Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday balling the way that they did, as supplanting the number 3 seed in Portland via sweep. That was a shocker. I didn't expect them to be swept. And then in the Eastern Conference, LeBron needed to go 7 games. The Philadelphia 76ers taking out Miami in 5 and meeting Boston. I predicted their series with Milwaukee would go 7, and it certainly did. And so obviously Toronto was playing Washington. So now you've got Toronto going up against LeBron, who's been their kryptonite. You got Boston and Philadelphia, which is just a prelude to what is expected to come for years and years to come once Kyrie and Gordon Hayward comes back.
I agree.
Considering what the two teams have. So that's what you look at it right now. It's really interesting. It's very compelling.
No, one thing, Steve, you agree, Steven. I don't see anybody beating Golden State. I think Houston will win a game or two. Golden State's still, if Curry's, even if he isn't back, Golden State's played very well here so far, except for that last San Antonio game. They're going to beat, I thought the Pelicans would be more competitive. Now I'm concerned. They're going to win the whole thing again, and they are going to kill somebody in the final. That team in the East is not going to win a game against the Warriors in the final. How about that?
Well, here's what I would tell you. I'm certainly not picking against the Golden State Warriors. I definitely think they're the team to beat. What I would tell you is 2 things to pay attention to. A, do you realize that the Houston Rockets shot more threes than twos this year?
Yeah, I did know that.
When they get going offensively, they can beat anybody. The reason why I still go with Golden State is because Golden State has more shooters and they have lengthy defenders. So Harden and Chris Paul playing isolation ball is not going to cut it. Plus, they have somebody to run up and down the court with Clint Capella. I think that's why I would give Golden State the edge. What I would tell you is this. Pay attention to the Philadelphia 76ers, and only for this reason. Ben Simmons might be a superstar in the making. He gets a jump shot away from being LeBron.
100%. 100%. Yep.
Joel Embiid is big time. But Mad Dog, think about this, Doggy. They've got 5 shooters. You've got Redick, you've got Bellinelli, you got Ilyasova, you've got Covington, you've got Anderson, and they all defend. And that's what makes Philadelphia interesting. They have size and the ability to defend, plus perimeter shooting. And that's why you can't just summarily dismiss them. They can make any series interesting because, unlike Houston, they don't just try to – well, I should say unlike Houston because Houston has played defense this year. But Philadelphia plays defense, and they hit perimeter shots, and they have a 6'10" point guard.
Yeah, I agree.
I would not summarily dismiss them.
Listen, I agree, and I think they could get to the final, but I cannot see them beating Golden. I can't see them being that competitive. What's going on with Oklahoma City? Is George and Anthony? Give me a little rundown about that.
George is going to leave. I can't imagine that he'll stay. Carmelo Anthony can talk all he wants to, but at the end of the day, he's got a $28 million salary to opt into, and I have never known him to pass up on his money. He can talk about not wanting to come off the bench all he wants to. There have been times where he has seemed either indifferent or disinterested or just like Father Time has caught up. I can't tell the difference. I haven't spoken to him. Paul George had a really good series until Game 6.
Yeah, he's terrible.
And then he was an absolute disaster.
Right.
And so if you're looking at normally you could blame Russell Westbrook because you played with everybody from Harden and Ibaka and Durant to Harden. I'm sorry, to Paul George and Carmelo Anthony, and you still can't win a title. So at some point in time, you got to look at Russell Westbrook. The problem is that those last 2 games of that series, I don't blame Russell Westbrook one bit for doing what he did.
I agree.
Because he had no choice.
He did not.
He had no choice.
I tell you, too, they blew the call, too. What did the NBA say about that George non-foul call last 10 seconds on Friday night?
Well, I haven't heard anything from them yet, but what I would tell you is they'll admit eventually that they made a mistake, that Paul George was clearly fouled, and the foul should have been called. But at the end of the day, what it comes down to is that Oklahoma City wasn't good enough. They played iso ball. Every shot was a difficult shot. There were no open shots to be made. If it wasn't for the heroics of Russell Westbrook and Paul George, they would have been bounced out in 5 games. So what that forces us to do is look at Billy Donovan and say that this 2-time national champion coach from Florida isn't necessarily the right coach in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, you're not getting.
You need somebody.
I get that.
You need somebody that's going to get into Russell Westbrook's head. You need somebody that's going to do that.
Who? Westbrook is it's hard to build a championship team around Russell Westbrook with the way he plays the game, Steve. You know that. Very difficult.
Well, I agree with that, and I tell you this much, too. I mean, listen, it's the way he plays, but you got to remember, you're talking to somebody that coached that covered Allen Iverson for the first 10 years of his career, okay? And somehow, some way, Larry Brown built a team.
Yeah, but the
East, Billy King is his. Go ahead. Go ahead,
but the Eastern Conference stunk, so he was able to get to a final. In the West, with good teams, you can't do that because you can't beat these teams with one guy. That's the problem.
Well, you say they stunk. I would beg to differ.
Milwaukee
if you recall,
listen.
If you recall, they had Vince Carter in Toronto in the semifinals. That went 7 games.
I remember.
Then they had Glenn Robinson, Ray Allen, and Sam Cassell in the conference finals in Milwaukee with George Karl as the coach. I wouldn't say they stunk.
Yeah, they're not big-time team. They weren't Golden State and Houston. They weren't big-time team. And how about the starting times of some of these games? Did the NBA have to make Utah play 36 hours after they won Game 6 against Oklahoma City?
I think that should have been an evening game, or that game should have been tonight. I don't think they should have had to play Sunday afternoon after going through what they went through Friday night.
That's a joke. And how about this? Let me ask you this, Stephen. You've been doing this forever. On a Saturday night at 10:30, we can't play the Golden State New Orleans game at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Saturday night at 10:30. It's bad enough the game start at 10:45. I mean, we on a Saturday night in Golden State with the Celtics, we could not play those 2 games at 5 and 8 for TNT. That's ridiculous.
I agree. I agree. I don't have a problem with what you're saying, because I think that you got to think about. Yeah, I think a lot of times, Doug, what they're thinking about is people are going out on Saturdays, their day off from a weekday of work, doing what they're doing, and they're home settled at around that time. But my attitude is the games could be a little bit early on a Saturday. I don't think any game should start past 8 o'clock.
Oh, it's ridiculous, Stephen. All right, now, you like Philly to beat Boston in how many games?
I like Philly to beat Boston probably in 6. It could go 7. The only reason I picked Philly in this series, though, as much as I like them, is because Kyrie Irving is not there.
Oh, I totally agree.
Yeah, 100%. If Kyrie Irving was there, I would pick Boston.
I don't disagree. How about Cleveland, Toronto?
Well, Toronto's the better team, and they should win. If I had to bet my money, it would probably be on Toronto. The problem is LeBron has been their kryptonite. So I've got to see them knock off LeBron to believe it.
All right,
because they've never been able to.
And Houston will win how many games against Golden State?
5. Oh, no. Houston will beat New Orleans in 5.
All right.
I'm sorry. Houston will beat Utah in 5.
I agree. How about Houston?
New Orleans will fall to Golden State in 5.
I agree.
And then Golden State is going to beat Houston in a Game 7 at the Toyota Center in Houston.
Wow. We'll get you on before, Stephen. Keep up the good work, pal. Always a pleasure, buddy. He just lost him. That's poorly done by Eddie. He hung up the phone up. Poor Stephen A.
Stephen A is the best.
Oh, he's the best.
I want to put him on hold.
I lost him there. He was flying. You want to take Boston or Philly?
Philly's going to win, but it's not. It's not going to be very easy.
6 games, 7th game. I don't see him winning the Game 7 in Boston, so you better say it's 6.
Why not? Why couldn't they?
Because Boston historically is about 30, and I think they're 32-5 at home in a Game 7. That's
historically,
something.
but this roster is not part of the ghosts.
They just beat Milwaukee in Game 7.
I know, but
last year they beat Washington in Game 7.
You think Philadelphia's better than Milwaukee and better equipped to beat them right now?
Last year they beat Washington in Game 7 at home. This is a pretty good team here. In that building, in that one game. They got a lot of leprechauns in that building. So you take Philly in 7, okay? Toronto, Cleveland.
The Cavs are winning. I feel the exact same thing Stephen A. does. I mean, until you prove that you can beat them.
So you think the Cavs are beating Toronto?
Yeah, I do.
I don't see
Toronto's a better team. Steve, I can't say it any better than he just did. I mean, he's 100%. Agree with every word.
You want to see Toronto beat them first. And Houston will get how many games against Golden State?
Oh, they'll get probably go 6 or 7.
I think they get one game.
Only one, really?
Yeah. Houston's not beating Golden State, Steve. No way.
I didn't say they were going to beat them, but I don't know if it's going to be a 5-game series.
Golden State will split. They'll win the 2 games at home and go down to Houston. All right, maybe 6. I'll be fair. Because Houston's got home court. So maybe 6. But not a good 6. Never 2-2.
Right? It'd be 3-1, and then no.
Maybe they don't care as much like the San Antonio game, and away we go. All right, Steve's got a sports fight. What do you got? Yankees
There's
Astros.
nothing going on.
Yeah, you pumped up Yankees Astros.
I am looking forward to it. I don't expect great results.
Here we go now.
No, I don't. I mean, can you be fair about the pitching matchups tonight?
What you're doing
Nobody's
is you're taking some pressure off you.
No, I'm not.
Jeez.
The Yankees have won 9 in a row. So why? What pressure? Here's the thing. Morton, nobody's hit him. Sonny Gray, yourself, you already have him out of baseball, for God's sakes. You think he's the worst thing that's ever taken a mound, which you're not that far off of, by the way. And tomorrow I got Montgomery going against Keuchel. That's good. And then Verlander in Game 3. I mean, you got to be fair. So I'll be delighted with a split. Delighted. Got to be fair.
Yeah, I think
Judge is not playing tonight, getting the night off, which I expected, actually.
Now, why would you do that? You couldn't give him a night off last night?
Face the lefty tomorrow. He's scuffling a little. It's been a long road trip. He hasn't had one day off. Take him out.
I mean, geez, it's the Houston.
And Romine's going to catch, but Sanchez is DH.
Boy, he's wrapped up in it. Look at him.
I just saw the lineup.
He saw 3 hours before game first pitch.
That's what they do. They put the lineup 3 hours before game time.
Boy, he can't look at him.
I saw it on Twitter.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you got for me?
We got hockey tonight. 2 games. Boston's trying to go 2 games up on Tampa Bay. San Jose and Vegas tied at a game apiece. Game 3 tonight. Lou Lamoriello out of a job with the Maple Leafs.
I wonder if that's by mutual consent.
Maybe the Islanders will get him. Islanders? What do you think?
Every time he puts his headset on,
Lou had an agreement that he was going to step down after 3 years being the GM, so it was kind of premeditated.
There you go.
Right.
He's remaining with the team as an advisor.
Steve didn't tell you that, but go ahead.
Why would I?
Because
it's hockey. Ron Francis out as well, is that true, though? Is that like that? Because I heard some people say that they were a little surprised, no?
I don't think the public knew, but between Lou and the Leafs, it seemed like it was
That's Steve getting his update from the Washington News. You may continue.
That's right, because they'd be all over a story about the Toronto Maple Leafs.
That's the famous Jay Cutler to the Redskins story that Steve broke. Go ahead. You may continue.
Oh, God, we're going to go through this again. Actually, I'm finished. I have nothing else to say further. You can fill 15 seconds another way.
Good boy, Steve. See you later?
No, I'm
you going to get the train now?
I would like to, since your program's over shortly, and I've been here quite a long time.
Steve.
Yes, what is
you're
it?
Laughing,
you did a TV show that we're all going to be proud about?
You're laughing all the way to the bank, Steve. Let's be fair.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Those deposits come in handy.
Damn right they do.
All right, here's Mike.